Texas A&M Kingsville. So they get another try on third down, and this running play will go to around the 25-yard line. It's Staley hit by Dwayne Rudd. And it is kicking time for the Philadelphia Eagles as the defense does their job in a very impressive way. Sean Landeta, 15 years out of Towson State, coming over this year as a free agent from Green Bay. End over end kick. Takes a huge bounce in the Vikings' favor and is going to go back across the 45 to around the 47-yard line. So it gives us an opportunity to set the offense for the Minnesota Vikings tonight. Randall Cunningham comes in at quarterback, the 14-year veteran out of Nevada, Las Vegas. 60.9%, incredible. 3,700 yards, 34 touchdowns, and only 10 interceptions. Smith and Reed and Carter, the receivers, along with Moss and Glover. Robert Smith, the lone setback, of course. Stussy, McDaniel, Jeff Christie, Dixon back in the lineup, and Corey Stringer over at right tackle. Smith bounces off one tackler, takes it back into the boundary. He'll go for a couple, and that's it. Greg Jefferson, fifth-year man out of Central Florida, urges him out of bounds, and as you can see, it's going to be a gain of just a couple on the play. Defensively for Philadelphia tonight, Hugh Douglas, Bill Johnson, those are certainly the two mainstays on that front, along with Thomas and Greg Jefferson. At the linebackers, Thomas, Trotter, what a battle they've got going at middle linebacker, along with James Darling. And in the secondary, Harris, Hawk, Brian Dawkins, and Troy Vincent. Moss in motion to the top of your screen. Cunningham swings it out of the backfield. Here's Smith. Nice move at the 50, at the 45, and he dropped two. He dropped two jocks on that play, and I mean, go ahead and put the notches on the board. They had no idea where he was.
Yeah, they got the running back on the linebacker, and the manner in which they did it, they started the Vikings started the game with three wides, but now you've got two tight ends, one running back. You see Moss go in motion, so he's got single coverage right here. And there are so many weapons on this offense. Just with the formation, you single up Robert Smith, and whoa. Yes.
See, now he also got Clarence Love. He got a cornerback, so the linebacker can go back and say, I wasn't the only one.
Equipment deposited on the field.
On first down, deep over the middle, he's got his man, and it is taken away by Glover. The defender was there and almost had the interception, and Andrew Glover took it away from him.
Now the middle linebacker did his job. Jeremiah Trotter covers the tight end down the middle. And again, weapons. This is a beautiful throw and an even better catch. The tight end is covered, but Randall Cunningham still throws it right between the hands of Trotter. Glover
you can't
makes
defend it any better. If you do, you get a flag on the play. So it is another first down for the Vikings, and here comes that offense in the full board. 38 yards in the pass play to Glover. They scrimmage from the 13.5. Randall gives it inside. Smith hit behind the line of scrimmage. Great penetration. Hugh Douglas, the 5-year man out of Central State, traded from the New York Jets a couple of years ago, and a difference maker for them, as it looks as though Smith is going to come out of the ballgame.
He used a lot of different personnel when they get down here. Leroy Horde is going to come in for the last 2 years. Robert Smith he's been the real running back. He's a seam runner, great acceleration. You saw his agility when he made the moves on the linebacker and the defensive backs, but now Horde, he's more the tank.
Leroy, a 10-year man from Michigan, free agent, 1996, coming to the Vikings. Lots of time, zings it into the end zone, and it's incomplete. Little duel in the back of the end zone between Carter and Al Harris.
And Ron, so far I've seen a lot more different formations and usage of personnel by the Minnesota Vikings. That time again, two tight ends lined up on one side. You had Reed and Moss, Carter and Moss on the other side. So it looks like Ray Sherman, the offensive coordinator, trying to give him a lot of different looks.
Well, the other thing that is very obvious, and this is nothing against Lucino, who played last week, but with Dixon there, all that 11 back, there seems to be a wall sealed in front. He's had all kinds of time.
You're right.
On third down, sets deep, lobs it for the end zone, and did he catch it in bounds? No. Moss out of the back of the end zone. It'll be a 4th down situation, and the special teams are now moving on the sideline.
Now wait a minute. Now we have instant replay, and it did appear to me that Randy Moss was pushed out. Randall cannot find the primary receiver. He's looking around, and finally, why not throw it to Moss in the end zone? Let's see what happens. 1 foot down. Well, I think there could be a complaint. There could be a lobbying for, hey, he was pushed out. And as a matter of fact, I think there is going to be a review. Dick Hantak, the referee, has walked over to Danny Green. He may want to see that review.
Minnesota is challenging the ball on the field with an incomplete pass. Second step out of bounds.
He's asked for it, so now Dick Hantak has a television monitor down on the sideline, and there will be someone go over and look at the play to see if in fact he was pushed out. Now, if it's reviewed and overturned, then everything is fine. It goes for a touchdown. But if it's not overturned, then it counts a timeout. See, I think there was enough.
I agree with you, but I think one piece of evidence may doom them, and that is the fact that his second foot came down out of bounds as well.
Well, that might be true. We'll have to see, but you see the contact right there carries him out of bounds and actually puts him in a situation where he can't get a second foot down.
That's what I'm saying. I think if that last foot had come down, then for sure they might get the benefit of the doubt. But we'll wait and see what the replay guys upstairs and Mr. Hantak come up with as the first review coming early in this ball game.
Of course, Danny is looking at the big screen TV. Maximum of 2 challenges. Each challenge requires a timeout, and if the challenge doesn't work, it costs the team the timeout. And then after the 2-minute warning, it goes upstairs. Only the people watching the instant replay are the ones who are going to make the decision, and 90 seconds to make the decision. So you say it's not going to be overturned?
I don't think that the evidence is in the Vikings' favor.
Okay.
And that's what he's going to say. He just shook his head to the other official.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field of his personal momentum not being able to come down into the field of play is upheld. Minnesota is charged 1 timeout.
So the appeal is denied, and the Vikings charged with a timeout. So it's 4th down and 8, and that means Mr. Automatic, Gary Anderson, the 18-year veteran out of Syracuse by way of Durban, South Africa. And he will be attempting this one from the 20-yard line. So a 30-yard attempt squarely in the middle of the field, and of course that's Berger holding. Good pass, good kick, and the Vikings are on top. So we'll take a break. 9:56 left in his opening quarter, and it is 3-0 Minnesota. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the Metrodome. You never know who you're going to run into down here. Now, Kirby Puckett, did you used to play baseball here?
Yeah, I used to, but it's loud down here, Joe. I don't know how you always seem to find me all the time.
Well, I tell you what, it reminds me of 87 and 91 World Series. Bring back memories?
It is loud down here. I should have wore earplugs. Real loud.
All right. Well, I know Kirby's a big Vikings fan and Timberwolves fan. Back up to you guys.
Okay, Joe. The kickoff coming down to the 3-yard line. It is Rossum. Crosses the 20 this time. It is going to take it to around the 23-yard line. And there's a break in the action with 9:47 left in this opening quarter. 3-0 Minnesota on top. Came by way of free agency from the Green Bay. Down with his new head coach. He doesn't have a lot of experience, Bob.
No, he has no starts in 7 years in the NFL. He's thrown a grand total of 32 NFL passes, 18 completions, and Andy Reid, the head coach of Philadelphia, says barring injury, he starts the season as the Philadelphia Eagles starting quarterback.
Well, 75% of the time last year, the Vikings scored first. They have done it again tonight. Quick pass over the middle, has it complete, and that's a small, and he will take it across the 30. Not enough for the first down. He'll miss it by just about a yard and a half. Tonight's keys to the game brought to you by your friendly Dodge dealer.
Didn't mean to jump in there, but one of the things that we want to pay close attention to is quick out of the gate. Well, they score first. Even though it's a field goal, it's still points. Regained dome field advantage. Last time they played here, they lost. And lastly, final exams for some of these young guys. Cut day is the 31st of August.
Well, you could see the corner blitz pressure coming off the corner, but Philadelphia went with a running play with Kevin Turner. And he is going to be close to the first down. Around the 33 is Tony Williams, who occupies that defensive tackle spot, is down there to grab him around the ankles. And I'm not sure if this one is close enough for a measurement or not. Yep, they're going to bring in the chains and check it out as you look at Foge on the sideline hollering his wishes out to the defense, who started very strongly last week, and they've started strongly tonight. Interesting with the corner blitz on that last play, and of course a running play was called, but a little bit more aggressive, it seems as though, as this preseason comes to a halt.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to characterize it too. Everyone looks at the Minnesota Vikings and their offensive numbers, they just blow your mind. So the tag is, well, Minnesota will be as good as its defense. Actually, this is a very sound defense. It's a very conservative defense. They play a lot of double zone. They hope that the defense has 80 yards behind them, which is going to be the case, and they know their offense is going to score a lot. So it's very conservative. They don't do a lot of fancy things. They just play solid.
Sawyer comes in at left defensive end. You can see number 97, his split very wide outside the tackle. As they roll the pocket, in trouble, and the man I'm just talking about. Lance Sawyer, the young man from Nevada, Las Vegas, and actually he got blocked on the line of scrimmage, and you could see did a nice job of playing off the block and coming back out. The quarterback came into it.
Yeah, here's Sawyer right here. They try to put a fullback Turner on him. It'll never work.
Tried to tackle him.
Yeah, Lance Sawyer has been one of the great surprises, defensive surprises for this team.
Nice looking athlete, and as Bob so well pointed out last week, they dropped him into coverage at times back in the fourth quarter. Deep drop this time, and the stunt works right over the middle with the screen pass to the 30. This is Deuce Staley, and he'll be denied the 35. As you could see those tackles roaring upfield as they had a stunt working and all kind of pressure, and a nice good play for what they had called defensively.
Yeah, but Ron, look at the recovery speed of this defense. Now, there's great speed at the linebacker here. Rudd is probably the quickest. Wong is very quick, but they drop, but then all of a sudden they see the screen. Now watch how quickly they recover. Rudd is right there. Great pursuit. Rudd is there to almost make the tackle by himself. That's one of the real secrets of this defense.
Third down, the line to make is the 43. Sets deep in the pocket. Peterson gets it out in the flat and caught at the 40, and a couple of missed tackles will allow the Eagles to pick up the first down. It's a good job by Turner. Rudd got a piece of him, but it was not enough. And that's one of those plays that when they go in the dark room and review it, Foge is not going to be polite to a couple of guys.
Yeah, Andy Reid is putting in the West Coast offense. There's a lot of aspects to it, and that was a crossing pattern underneath the linebackers. And you try to get a running back with the linebacker, and Dwayne Rudd will normally make that tackle.
First down as they spot the ball just across the 43. If you just joined us, Vikings on top, 3-0, first quarter. Nothing there. Whoa, what a hit. Ben Williams and Dwayne Rudd almost took the numbers off the front and put them on the back of his jersey. Whoa.
Now, Ron, what I like about this Minnesota Viking defensive line is not huge, but they're one-gappers. That is, get up in there and gap. Create havoc. You see, Sawyer jumps inside, and then Williams comes around the outside, and along with Rudd there to make the tackle. This is a very active defense.
Only one way to describe Rudd, and you could see he was coiled like a snake, yes, and then he just wraps you. He really knows how to do that well. Ball batted down at the line of scrimmage, and it looked as though it's Rudd again. this time getting a big hand up. So he makes a tackle on one play, comes up with a big tip of a pass, and now it's 3rd down and a distance job for the Philadelphia Eagles.
You know, I asked Coach Fazio, here's Rudd right over here. You're going to see him come into the picture, gets his hands up. I asked Coach Fazio, I said, can Rudd pass rush? Coach, you need some pass rush. He said, I don't know. I need him so much for all the rest he can do. I don't even want to think about him as a pass rusher.
Well, it's 3rd down, Bob, and if they want to keep this one going, they need to go to the Viking 46.5-yard line. Doug Peterson looks at a blitz. They pick it up, pass right over the middle, in and out of the hands of his intended receiver, Torrance Small. And for the 2nd time tonight, the Vikings force Philadelphia into a punting situation. Martin Harrison was one of the guys really bringing heat to Peterson, the quarterback.
Sawyer is standing up again. Here's the intended receiver who comes in late, and he should have made the catch. He is open. Peterson stands in there. That ball should be caught. I mean, that is a great job by Peterson, but Torrance Small just could not make the catch.
Good coverage kick. Very high spiral back to the 10-yard line. Palmer. And he'll wind up with a return of about 6 yards in the play. And the Vikings will scrimmage deep in their own territory. So there's a timeout on the field. 3-0 Vikings lead. We'll return to Minnesota Vikings football after this message from US West. Well, for Randall tonight, his team got a field goal. Very nearly a touchdown in the opening drive, and they were extremely impressive. Glover with a 38-yard catch over the middle. And I mentioned to you, Bob, the protection. Well, all 11 are back, and David Dixon, who's a mainstay at that guard spot, it makes a difference. Yeah, on that side, along with Corey Stringer, you got Dixon at 360 and Corey Stringer at 345. Mike Tice, the offensive line coach, calls them space heaters over there. Smith. Nothing at left guard, so he takes it to the right side, puts a head down and takes it to around the 23 is James Darling, a 3rd-year linebacker from Washington State, a number 2 draft choice in '97, makes the tackle. This offensive line is not going to be fancy, but you got 3 Pro Bowlers in there, Christy McDaniel and Stussy on the left side, and then you got the great big guys. They stand them up, just move them where they want to go. And all this preseason, the Vikings have emphasized, we want to run the ball. This is a perfect situation for them to run the ball and keep running the ball. See what happens. Well, they had 5 yards in that first attempt, and that's a darn good average to start with. They keep it on the ground again. High step to Smith. Going to have the first down, and he will be in the vicinity of the 29-yard line as Jefferson makes the stop. But that was a good second effort by Smith. He got hit and warded off the tackler. An excellent lead block by the rookie tight end Kleinsasser right here. And they're going to use this guy as a lead blocker a lot. He runs right into David Dixon. He knocked Dixon. This is a back block. Watch Dixon get turned around. As he's backing up, he runs right into the safety, just drops the safety, and Smith keeps running. And I can tell you, it was 2 on the Richter scale. First down for the 29. They faked the run this time, got him open over the middle, complete, and turned the flip is Glover. Glover with 2 attempts and 2 receptions tonight. He has been Andrew on the spot. That's Dawkins who flipped him. Now, Ron, everywhere you look, Minnesota can do something. They can do damage to you. Here's the tight end right here, just down the middle. Good play action fake, and the linebackers stick. That allows the tight end to get right behind him. Look how open it is. And bam. And that play action is also a penalty against Minnesota. It's coming back, but when you can suck those linebackers up to the line of scrimmage, the tight end does come open quickly, but it's nullified. Holding was the call. So it erased the second catch by Glover, and they will spot it down at the 19-yard line. It is first down, and the line to make, they have to take it all the way out to the 39. 3-0, Vikings lead at the 4:25 mark. Here comes the blitz in the middle. Quick pass, ran it nicely. Hurdles the receiver, and Glover's putting on a show tonight. Yeah. Like the big Clydesdale, he's high-stepping. Yeah, and now you're looking at an offense that's in sync. Everyone read the blitz correctly. Glover takes the right release, turns his head around. He's the hot receiver, and you're going to see the release with the blitz showing. Randall reads it perfectly, and the linebacker can't get over to cover Glover. So, I mean, what is that, a 14 or 15-yard game? Yep, it's all of a sudden second down at about 3, and they had second down at 20 just a moment ago. see Christie pointing. We'll talk about that in just a moment as Horde gets the handoff, and he's going to break off a tackle and fight his way in the vicinity of the 46. Horde, the ball carrier. Bob, talk about what happened this week. Now, Christie has always been making the line call. You could see him pointing at the line of scrimmage just a moment ago. But Ray Sherman said this week he's going to put a lot of that on Cunningham's shoulder this year. Why?
Well, in situations where you have a team that blitzes a lot, you need the quarterback, and he's standing up and can see the entire defense, and he can see the defense better. And Ray Sherman believes he can call the blocking schemes a little better. Now, Jeff Christie said, no, Randall, that's the wrong coverage. And he'll come with another scheme of blocking. So he's got a backup to help him.
Quick pass in the flat at the 40. That's caught by Palmer, who had just come into the backfield to join Horde. And from where they've given him progress, the Vikings will move the sticks.
And now, to this point, the offense of the Minnesota Vikings has functioned very well. Randy Moss has not caught a pass, neither has Chris Carter. I mean, they're the two big weapons. They're going to Glover. They're running the ball. It's just weapon after weapon.
That was my point I was making about how open the middle was, because they're out on the flats trying to make sure that Moss or Carter don't just burn them alive for a 60-yarder. Corner's creeping up this time. The blitz comes in the middle, and Smith gets by a tackler, gets by a second, and he is off for a 9-yard run to the 49. And listen to this crowd showing their appreciation. He left them in his wake. Hawk finally makes the stop, but what an outstanding job of agility in second and third effort.
Had 5 100-yard rushing days last year. Is not known for a guy who breaks tackles, but there's 1 arm tackle, 2 arm tackles, 3 arm tackles, 4 arm tackles. So the defensive coordinator of Philadelphia, Jim Johnson, is going to say, Robert Smith is great. You guys made him look Hall of Fame. Put a shoulder pad on him, not your arm.
He's got 4 carries for 23 yards, but certainly that one the most impressive of the night with the gain of 9 yards. This time it's Horde, big opening over the middle, has 5 and counted off at about 8 as Hawk again, and you don't like it when your strong safety is making back-to-back-to-back tackles.
Well, it's such a change of pace. Smith has that long, just fluid stride, and Leroy Horde, I mean, he pounds. He just pounds at the line of scrimmage, and he's tireless. His contribution late in the season last year was just, you couldn't measure how important he was to this football team.
Well, he has looked very good in his preseason. As John Henry Mills is in the game. That was Mills in motion, and the quick out pass thrown to Carter. And he's still trying to pick up something after the catch, and he'll be down at the 38 by Al Harris.
You know what happens to this offense? I swear, there is so much available to Ray Sherman that I do believe that Carter and Moss, if they don't get the ball, they get upset. Man, come on, I want to be a part of this. Throw the thing to me, will you? And Ray Sherman has emphasized, there's Ray Sherman right there, the offensive coordinator. He has emphasized we want to get the ball more in the middle of the field to take pressure off Randy Moss and Chris Carter. So
Vikings also proven you can play ball control with the pass game.
Sure.
This should be the last play of this opening quarter as Cunningham rolls the pocket toward the short side of the field, zings it, almost intercepted, and that's Hawk. And that'll stop it with 4 ticks, so we'll have one more play before the end of the first quarter.
Ball intended for Chris Carter. Was a little late getting there. Chris really didn't come out of the break very well. And Hawk almost comes up with the interception.
A couple of guys, of course, on that play that used to wear green and started their careers up there.
Yeah, actually, the year that Randall Cunningham had in 1990 when he was a Philadelphia Eagle is astounding, even more astounding than what he accomplished last year.
Horde and Palmer, the 2 setbacks this time. 3rd down, and they need to take it down to the 32-yard line of Philadelphia. Straight in the pocket this time, and Cunningham under pressure, and he's going to be sacked. That's Hugh Douglas. Douglas, who has a great reputation for hunting down quarterbacks, fulfills it right there on the final play of the first quarter, and he knocks him down. That is the end of the first quarter with our score: the Vikings 3 and the Eagles 0. We return to Minnesota Vikings football after this message from your local Chevrolet dealer. Well, part of the packed house here tonight at the Metrodome, and they're excited about this football team. There is no other way to look at it.
They should be.
Yeah,
they should be.
We were just talking about how much fun they are to watch on offense. They have so many weapons that they can hit you with. As you look at Berger, who is standing waiting for the snap. Rossum is the deep guy for the Eagles, and he is deployed to the Philadelphia 10-yard line.
Now, this is an important key for Minnesota. This has to be down inside the 20. No touchbacks here for Berger.
Very high spot, end over end, actually. And caught and fair caught. Excellent. At the 12-yard line.
Excellent punt.
Tonight's first quarters. So let's take a break. 3-0. Vikings lead. We'll be back right after this. Well, a young fan stating the obvious here. I love the bikes. And only 24 more payments on the mouth. She's going to love her dad so much more for doing that.
Front row seats and braces. That family's doing well.
That's Tice on the sideline, and you made the comment as Philadelphia comes to the line of scrimmage that we have probably seen the last of David Dixon tonight. Not because of injury, but they've seen what they want of him. Running play, nothing there, and just jammed down in the backfield as Bursic wanted the first man, along with Tony Williams, combining on the stop.
In a conversation I had with Andy Reid, he said he wanted an aggressive offensive line. Well, you see 94 Williams jump around the center, and they just blew that play up. Absolutely blew that play up. Now, this offensive line is a decent offensive line for Philadelphia, but in trying to learn this new offense, they have had some real problems.
Second down, they're going to take it all the way out to the 23-yard line. And Peterson, boy, I'll tell you what, that screen pass almost wound up out of Deuce Staley's hands, and Wong was right there. And he was headed the right way.
That's about the fourth screen I've seen Philadelphia try, and Wong was right there. Deuce Staley.
Tonight's first quarter stats brought to you by US West. 91 yards, Vikings 28 for Philadelphia. 5 first downs, Minnesota 2 for Philadelphia. No turnovers for either club. But as you can see, almost 2/3 of the first quarter dominated in possession time by the Vikings. Third down. Short drop, quick look-in pass at the 15, and that one's going to be stopped very quickly as Charles Johnson made the reception, and I'm sure Charles is sitting there saying this is going to go from bad to worse because McDonald hit him first, and then a lot of friends came around.
That was a great job by Ramos McDonald, too. He covered a lot of ground there to get to the receiver before he could pick up the first down. A good, sure tackle. And again, the Vikings defense puts Philadelphia in a spot where they're going to give the Minnesota Vikings offense very good field position.
Sean Landetta looking at David Palmer, and there are whistles all over the place and a high snap. Got to be procedure against the Eagles.
Well, start prior to the snap.
So he's going to move about 5 yards deep in his end zone to receive this snap.
Seems like Landetta's been around since Vince Lombardi coached. You know that?
Well, he's been around 15 years out of Towson State. And as we said, he's about 4 yards deep in his end zone. Gets a good pass this time and a very high, good coverage kick. Palmer signals for the fair catch, and he makes it at midfield. 3-0 Vikings lead. Will return to Minnesota Vikings football after these brief messages. Minnesota on top 3-0 as we have played about the first minute and a half of this second quarter. We continue to see Randall Cunningham at quarterback, and let's change what we said a moment ago. They have installed Dixon back in the lineup. So Corbin Lucina did come in for him during that series, but now Dixon is back out there.
Dixon Thorpe is named the conference championship game and is just not to the point where he can play, but they got to get him in playing shape.
Mills in at fullback. Play action now. Cunningham under pressure, and he is going to be sacked. Ball is on the ground, still bouncing around. Douglas is the man who disrupted the play again, and Christie has made the recovery. Jefferson is the man actually who hit him and knocked the ball loose. And then Douglas was right there as well, and all of a sudden havoc being wreaked by the defensive front.
Play action fake. And you see Douglas coming around. That's the second time now that he's gotten right in the backfield, and that time he would hit Corey Stringer.
That's 2 fumbles. Douglas had control of the football, so that's a double change of possession. They should move the chains. It should be first down.
It is going to be first down.
Yeah. So a break actually.
For Minnesota.
Yeah. They lose about 3.5 yards on the play, but they get a new set of downs. They lead it 3-0. Smith puts a head down, and he is going to have a couple, maybe 3 yards. Let's go to the sideline and Joe Schmidt.
So we got a kicking controversy going on with the Vikings, and it has to do with the footballs. The NFL has instituted a new rule this year where the kickers have their own special balls, and if you look closely, they have a K on the ball. These are brand new footballs. Every time a kicker kicks, it's a brand new football. Last year, Mitch Berger led the NFL with 40 touchbacks on kickoffs. This year, he said the leader in the NFL will probably have 10.
Kickers have their own footballs. What's happened to this football game? Get out of here.
Well, he came up. He wanted the ball back from Joe.
Yeah.
That was not acting, folks. Smith breaks it out on the right side, and now here comes a late flag in, thrown at the 50 as Thomas makes the tackle on Smith. And that's going to be holding against the Vikings. So you would have to say in this series and at the end of the last one, with a hurry and a sack and a forced fumble, and now this is the second holding call.
Holding. Offense number 77. 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down. Second down.
Stringer is the man who was flagged for holding. That Coach Tice is going to have some conversations at halftime.
Yeah, there's Corey Stringer right there, and it appears that it's no. I was going to say that's Hugh Douglas, who has had all kinds of problems.
Jefferson, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is. He's got his arm on Jefferson. But again, a little sloppiness shown here by the offensive line of the Minnesota Vikings.
Jake Reed comes in at wide receiver, number 86. He is at the bottom of your screen. Horde, the lone setback. 2nd and 17. Cunningham drops deep, under pressure. Now goes long. Moss is there, and it is knocked down on a nice defensive play by Al Harris. Steve Martin was really coming with pressure on Randall Cunningham.
You know, Ron, last year, in most instances when Randall Cunningham did that, it was a touchdown. Still a great athlete. Cunningham senses the pressure, staring right at it, and then heaves it down there. And of course, every time we turned our heads, Randy Moss was down there making a spectacular catch. This one, Harris recovers nicely, the ball slightly underthrown, and it's just a long incompletion.
So it's 3rd down, and they need to take it to the Eagles 45 to pick up the first down. 11:55 left until halftime. Middle linebacker blitz. They also come off the corner, and Randall is going to be knocked down, and the ball is loose. And as they scramble for it, it would appear that the Vikings have recovered at the 14. Horde got back to get on the football.
Well, second time now that they've knocked the ball out of the hands of Randall Cunningham.
And it was Brian Dawkins who caused him to come loose from the football.
And that's a safety blitz. He's coming from right up here. But the one thing about Jim Johnson's defense from Philadelphia is that they'll come from everywhere. Dawkins runs over Leroy Horde to knock the ball out, so Leroy Horde should recover it.
Folks, let me make one point. It was a 90-yard situation a moment ago, and look what the defense of the Eagles have done. They gave up the ball at the 49-yard line, and now it is the Vikings punting from their own 15. So they changed the playing field. They reversed it. Berger with the long driving spiral all the way back to the 32. 40. Rossum tackled at the 43-yard line, and that'll be the end of the way. So let's take a break. We'll return to Minnesota Vikings football after this message from your friendly Dodge dealer. 3-0 Vikings lead. 3 sacks, minus 36, and 3 fumbles. And the offensive line coach is busy right now.
Yes, he is. He's looking at Polaroids, trying to the first offensive line unit of the Minnesota Vikings being handled by this Philadelphia Eagles front seven. And this is a line that protected Randall Cunningham beautifully last season and last week.
Mike Reed and Corey Walker, the setbacks for the Eagles. And they'll keep it on the ground, and it's going to be Walker, third-year man from Arkansas State. Dwayne Rudd is the man at the bottom of the stack who will stop him after a gain of 1.
The more you watch Minnesota, the more Dwayne Rudd just shows up everywhere. He shows up 40 yards deep. He shows up in the offensive backfield. He shows up underneath the piles in the middle. The man is everywhere.
Pressure on Peterson, going to have to hurry, and he just throws this one away. Pete Bursich, again this week, the reserve middle linebacker, has he is, and of course I shouldn't say reserve, he's in there playing with the starters right now, but he had an excellent game last week and has started off the same way this evening.
Ed McDaniel will be the starting middle linebacker, but this is a nice design blitz. You see Bursich come inside untouched. John Randall's there. Peterson just throws it away, brings up a 3rd and long.
Line to make is the 46 of Minnesota. 10:15 left in his opening half. They come up the middle again. That pass is thrown complete. Did he get the first down? I don't know. Very close, and they'll say no. It's Nay Brown, the number 4 draft choice out of North Carolina. As McDonald was out there on him, and I don't know, he didn't get his shoulder squared or get his feet across. So they say about a ½ yard short.
And there's Andy Reid. He's going to make the decision. I also see a flag down in the Eagles backfield, Ron.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 30 on the defense. 15 yards into the play.
Personal foul, roughing the passer.
I believe it was Antonio Banks.
Well, he was coming on a blitz late.
He did.
Here he comes late. Right here.
Yeah, 1-2. That's an extra stride and a half. Yeah, that's a good call. That's an easy call for Dick Hantak and his crew.
So forget the fact that they were about a ½ yard short of picking up the first. The penalty moves the ball down to the 32.5 yard line, or the 32, and it's first down. Now they come off the corner, and the pass in the flat is going to be incomplete, and then Rudd came in to put a shoulder on Corey Walker.
Also good pressure by John Burrow on Peterson. Made him hurry the throw a little bit, and again there's that Rudd guy. They put him in coverage on backside of the backfield, and he can do it. Probably the best conditioned athlete on the Minnesota Vikings football team. Even after 2-a-days at Mankato State, he's still out there running by himself.
It's amazing when you got a guy at 238 who runs in the vicinity of a 4.5. Covers a lot of territory. Second down. Right over the middle. Got this one complete. They're going to have the first down inside the 20 with Mike Reed. Wong defensively for the Vikings, but they found the seam and they were successful, +4 yards.
You see what Andy Reid's trying to do here is just think high percentage completion. Don't try anything down the field. That was the running back out of the backfield, A and B circle as they call it. Just base protection. Just got to slip somebody out there between the linebackers, and a nice completion for Peterson and a first down.
One setback, 3 wide receivers on first down. Peterson sets nicely in the pocket right over the middle. He's got him, and losing his footing is small as he tried to reverse his field. And let's see where they spot him down around the 12. Wong was there defensively.
Now this has been a nice drive, started at their own 44-yard line. And if you want to talk about problems, last year the Philadelphia Eagles scored a grand total of 17 touchdowns. Let's see, 30th in points. That's last. Yards per game, 7 touchdown passes, and yards. Again, their offense scored 17 touchdowns, and so did Randy Moss.
I started to say, I thought that number rang a bell. Second down. They need to take it to the Vikings 9. And now Peterson calls a timeout. Boy, that end zone was getting very, very loud. He couldn't hear it, and the last thing that he wanted was a 5-yard delay penalty. So he comes out from under center, and stops the clock. We'll return to Minnesota Vikings football after these brief messages. 3-0 Vikings. Reminding you, coming up on the Denny Hecker Automotive Halftime Report, Bob and I will provide you with highlights and analysis for the first half. That's all coming up at halftime. So the situation, it is second down, and the ball is resting just outside the 12. Crowd becoming very, very loud. Short drop, and the ball almost intercepted. Antonio Banks was right there, and he almost became the thief.
It would have been a great catch, but he backed right up into the slant.
It's his left hand,
yes,
too.
It would have been a great catch.
So it's third down, and they have to take it just inside the 9.
He drifts right back in front of the slot, sticks his mid up, almost has it. That's good coverage.
Sidelines right, open field to the left side. Peterson. Ball should have been caught for a first down at the 8-yard line. And Fontenot just had it go right through there.
But you know, that's on Peterson. We used to run that play a long time ago with Bill Walsh. And the quarterbacks taught you throw 2 to numbers. You don't lead him because you're going to lead him right into the linebacker. And it was a little low. Doug Peterson should have hit the tight end right between the numbers.
So a field goal attempt, and I believe officially this is going to be a 30-yard attempt by Norm Johnson, trying to tie our game at 3. And he's got it. So with 8:19 left until halftime, a 30-yard field goal, and we're tied at 3. We'll return to Minnesota Vikings football after this message from your local Chrysler Plymouth dealer. So we're tied at 3 with 8:19 left until halftime. Now, the gentleman who is about to kick it off for Philadelphia is David Akers. He's a first-year guy out of Louisville. And we were talking and watching him in the warm-up. If he doesn't stick, and Norm Johnson has had this job for a long time, this guy right here is going to get a lot of look-sees. His kicks were going 5 and 6 yards into the end zone every try.
Yeah, every player in the NFL now knows as a rookie you're auditioning for 30 other teams on every single snap.
You saw Palmer. He's back deep. And this one is not going to make the end zone. It's going to be Palmer at the 5. Cunningham will continue in the ballgame. We saw Jeff George warming up down on the sideline.
Now, we were told by Danny Green that Cunningham would go a quarter and a half, and then he wanted Jeff George to start the second half and go a quarter and a half. But with the problems with the first offensive line and the blitzing that Jim Johnson's Philadelphia defense is doing, he wants good protection here, so he wants the starting unit out there, and they are 3 wides, 1 running back, and the tight end Glover.
Carter has a catch. Moss does not have a catch. Running play, and that one doesn't go for very much as Darling comes up to knock down Smith after a gain of maybe a yard on the play, but actually they're going to spot him down at the 26, so gain of a couple.
There's a little hesitation there. You see how long that took him to get to the line of scrimmage? I don't know. I can't account for why, but generally you fire that thing right up in there.
Exactly, because the defensive end's the one that came across the linebacker from outside and knocked him down. Again, Smith the lone setback with 3 wide receivers. Cunningham under pressure. He sets the screen. It is caught, and Smith being hit and knocked backwards, and now is going to go out of bounds. Boy.
Did you see the 2 offensive linemen just standing there?
Hugh Douglas, of course, you bring a lot of pressure, and they let you on through. But this screen simply didn't set up right.
Yeah, this is the way you slow down the pass rush. But watch both Dixon, they're going to come in the picture here right, and Randall McDaniel, 71 and 64, standing right there. They thought Smith was down on the ground, so they just stood there.
So it is now a 3rd down, and they got to take it out to the 33.5-yard line. We're tied at 3 and about to go under 7 minutes left until halftime. Blitz again. Got this one complete, and it'll move the sticks. And welcome back, Jake Reed, the 9-year veteran from Grambling. And you know that feels good to him. You see him get up and give the fist.
Of course, he had back surgery late last season, didn't play in the conference championship game, but at 6'3" and 220 pounds, this is what Jake Reed does best. He catches the ball and then takes the hit. One of the biggest receivers there is in the game today, Ron. Huge target, excellent hands. If he's healthy, he is another weapon.
34 times he did that last year, 4 touchdowns. You could see his average almost 14 per catch. Horde hurdles a man at the line of scrimmage. He's still battling across midfield, and he'll be about a yard short of the first down as Thomas puts a stop on him. Lucina and Burke with a nice job of blocking there.
So they've the Vikings have taken out Randall McDaniel, their Pro Bowler. They've taken out David Dixon, and they've got some younger blood in there. And again, Ron, I think they've looked so sloppy in the first half offensively here. They're trying to prove to themselves, we have another gear. We can turn it on when we want to.
Moss down at the bottom of the screen. He's working against Troy Vincent. Down to play with here on 2nd and short. Horde bounces it outside. He is going to have 6, maybe 7 yards to the 41. And Darling again on the stop. But this crowd puts their hands together. The guy gives you such a good effort, and it's always appreciated by your partisans.
And now what Leroy Horde does beautifully here is he gets right up to the line of scrimmage before he makes that bounce outside. And it keeps everything packed in there, and then he can get around the corner. And he's a load to tackle. I mean, he will bruise you.
And the amazing thing is he's not as agile as most 10-year men. He is more agile.
He is.
Klein Saucer in the ball game. Horde 4 carries for 28, by the way. Smith gets it, bounces it outside, heads for the corner, and he'll be just inside the 40 before Al Harris ushered him out. I believe we've got 6 tackles for Al Harris in this ball game. He has been a busy guy.
Yeah, and you know, Harris is replacing Bobby Taylor, who is Philadelphia's best coverage cornerback. He's out with a bad ankle. Harris has accounted himself well throughout the preseason, not just here today.
Now the clock is running. 4:26 and now 4:25 showing until intermission. Cunningham wants to throw this one near side of the field, and big collision at the 15-yard line. Glover, the intended receiver, and that time the Eagles had a lot of folks in the middle.
Yeah. Excellent coverage by Jeremiah Trotter, the middle linebacker. They completed that pass in the first quarter, and Trotter that time, I thought he had a hold of Glover's hand, but he was right back there to make sure it wasn't easy if it was going to be a completion.
Trotter in quite a battle with Barry Gardner, the rookie out of Northwestern, for that starting spot at the middle linebacking position. And Trotter out of Stephen F. Austin. Gardner, as I mentioned, out of Northwestern. So it is 3rd down, and the Vikes need to take it to the 31.5-yard line to keep it going. Cunningham.
Carter
rolls it, and he's got Carter at the 30-yard line. Nice comeback and help out your mate, and it also will be a first down.
Well, that's a beautiful job by Chris Carter. He did not see Randall Cunningham flush from the pocket, but he had the good sense to turn his head around a little bit, see where the coverage is coming from. Here's Carter out here, and you can see him just kind of find the spot and then catch Randall's eye. Well, that's just time together. Practices and practices and practices. You have great confidence in each other.
Mills and Smith are the setbacks, and now a timeout has been called by the Philadelphia Eagles at the 3:39 mark. So we'll hold it right here.
Yeah, this isn't the way the Vikings wanted to look offensively when they came in here. They wanted to.
I have a feeling that this man right here, though, is pleased with the fact that they're playing such a tough defensive team in Philadelphia.
Yeah, no question about that. I mean, the Eagles are a 3-13 team of last year. They got a new head coach and 10 new assistants. But this defense for Philadelphia played very well, and I think Danny Green understood that.
Joe Schmidt down on the sideline, and he has a special guest. Joe?
I'm standing with Dwayne Clemens, defensive end, former #1 draft choice, who had arthroscopic knee surgery a couple of weeks ago. How close are you to coming back, Dwayne?
Right now, I guess I haven't been given the official word, but I'm pretty sure the next couple of days it'll come out.
You were having such a great camp trying to establish yourself as the #1 starter. A tough break. Are you going to be able to come back from that?
Oh, I think definitely. You know, I feel great. Like, you know, it's really a minor surgery, even though, you know, you hate to have any little setback, but it hasn't been a big setback. I'm still in great shape and ready to pick right up where I left off.
How do you think the defense is doing out there today?
They're doing great today. You know, they're out there stifling, only 3 points on the board. So, you know, that's generally what you want to do as defense. Keep them from scoring and keep giving the offense chances to go downfield and hopefully get 6.
How tough is it to be in the bench here area, watching these guys play when you're nipping at the bud to get out there?
Oh, it's real tough because, you know, those are my guys out there, and we go to war together every week. And so anytime you're not on the battlefield, it feels awkward, out of position. But, you know, it's a part of sports, and it's one of those things you have to deal with. But, you know, I know I'll be back in there soon and ready to release the hounds, like we always say.
All right, good luck to you, Dwayne, and hopefully we'll see you back out there next week in New York. All right, Dwayne Clemens trying to win a starting job on that defensive line.
You know, it's amazing is that arthroscopic surgery on knees now, you're out for 7 to 10 days. And this is a long time ago, but when I played, you'd be out for the entire season.
Yeah. Interesting, the recipient as far as playing time has been Sawyer, and he's benefited. Smith bounces it outside, gets another block inside the 20, and will be forced out of bounds at the 15-yard line by Al Harris. And credit Jeff Christie with a nice block in the middle.
And Ron, they put the first offensive line back in. You're going to see Dixon, here's Stringer, and here's Christie, the guy who slides out here and makes the block. Stays with it. A good block, too, by the wide receiver, Chris Carter. And blocks by wide receivers extend plays for a long way.
And that's the reason a guy like Carter gets so much respect from his teammates. Not only wants to catch it and take it to the end zone, but he will help out his mates as well. Is Horrid going to be hit and knocked down, and a flag has been thrown by the umpire. And not a good sign, because Bob, is this going to be, if it's holding, 3 or 4 offensive holding calls in the first half?
I think it's 4.
Well, that brings somewhat of a hush to this packed house.
Holding. Offense number 64, 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down, first down.
Randall McDaniel is the man who was flagged for holding.
Well, here's McDaniel right here. He's a 10-time Pro Bowler. And you can see the defensive.
Twice on the All-Pro.
Yes, it is. A defensive lineman just fires right into his chest. Randall tries to get away with one. Mike Tice not happy. He is the offensive line coach. Randall's better than that.
First down now from the 25. They got to take it to the 5, and the guard stepped on his foot. Hort gets the handoff. They were lucky to get the exchange there as Randall got stepped on and he went down. Trotter with the tackle.
Again, you know, if I'm putting together a football team, I want an athlete quarterback. And even though Cunningham's foot is stepped on, he's still enough of an athlete to keep his balance. It looks like it's the center, Christie puts his foot right back, but Cunningham is still able to make the handoff. And again, Leroy Hort gives you a good, tough run.
About to go under 2 minutes. Hort to the left side, and this for maybe a yard as Hollis Thomas steps up to make the stop, and a few scattered boos here from the crowd.
This defense of Philadelphia moves around so much. It's so active. It's hard for these offensive linemen to get a real quick look and know exactly where they're going to be. And the Philadelphia front 4 or 7 are really getting up through the gaps.
I think Thomas is the man who is shaken up. No, I'll take it back. It's Bill Johnson, number 94. By the way, this telecast is presented by the authority of the National Football League, and it is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the expressed written consent of the Minnesota Vikings and the National Football League is prohibited. 2:06 left until halftime. Vikings 3 and the Eagles 3. Bill Johnson is down, part of that tandem on the right side that really has been tough to deal with. Johnson and Hugh Douglas, with Douglas coming over last year. Jim Johnson, the defensive coordinator, very interested in this injury because Bill Johnson is one fellow that they can ill afford to lose off that down 4.
Yeah, he's got experience, 8th year in the league. He's also a 300-plus pounder. He's very, very strong upper body, and actually I'm surprised this doesn't happen more often. You got so many big bodies on a simple dive play that when people fall on each other, the legs just can't stand it, just can't hold up. There's Jim Johnson. Actually, Andy Reid thought he was very lucky to acquire Jim Johnson as his defensive coordinator. He said when he looked at Johnson's defense when Andy Reid was at Green Bay, this was always a very difficult defense to prepare for. They don't do anything consistently. They just do everything, and sometimes they just flat blow you up.
Well, I told you that Jim was probably not going to wait until he got a verdict on the sideline. He and the head coach both are out there.
Yes.
It shows you not every player is important, but this is one guy, like I said, that they want to start a couple of weeks from now. They want to make sure that number 94 is on the field in the starting lineup.
Yeah, no question. And an injury right now to any National Football League player in the preseason, if you need surgery and they put you on the injury reserve, you're out for the year. So it is very important that Andy and Denny Green keep their players healthy through these last 2 preseason games, because you just can't get by an injury to a starter, an important player in the preseason. You never get him back.
Well, those important dates that are coming up that Bob is talking about, cut to 60 on the 31st. That's Tuesday. Then on the 5th, cut down to 53. And on the 6th, they may establish a practice squad of 5. And on the 10th, clubs must identify the 49-player roster. And when the clock started, we went to the 2-minute warning. So we'll take it with them. Tied at 3. We'll return to Minnesota Vikings football after these brief messages. Big Bill Johnson, it looks as though he might be headed to the locker room a little bit early, giving way to that knee, and we'll try to get a report in the 3rd quarter. Situation as time is back in with 2 minutes left is a 3rd down, and the Vikings need to take it to the 5-yard line. That's Horde behind Cunningham. Cunningham, pressure from the backside, and he is going to be sacked. He never saw Douglas, but Mamula also was coming from the other side, and this is going to put the ball down at the 30-yard line. This would be a 47-yard attempt.
Well, here you've got Douglas. Over here, Mamula's at the bottom of the screen. Now, that's twice that Douglas has beaten Todd Stussy, the best pass protector for the Minnesota Vikings. And you can't blame Randall. He's so surprised that he's getting pressure. But those are just good outside moves by both Douglas and Mamula.
So Berger puts a knee down at the 38. High pass from center. Anderson's kick. It's got the distance, and it hit the upright. I'm wrong. It hit the crossbar and came back onto the field. It is no good. High pass from center caused the problem.
First down.
And of course, he got the award before the game today, the Golden Toe Award, and this is a good job by Berger to get the ball down. And Gary Anderson just can't get enough leg into it. It does hit the crossbar. It bounds back into the end zone. No points.
And the snapper was the rookie, Jay Humphrey from Texas. So the ball a little high, and it cost him possibly. Pass out on the flat. They've got that one complete. And he'll pick it up, well, 1 yard. The last time that Gary Anderson missed here in this building, all Vikings fans remember this.
Yeah, it's a moment they'd like to forget. This was to win the conference championship game. You see it's wide left. What's paid very little attention to is the tight end. Really does a very poor job here. You can see the guy is right in Gary Anderson's face. There should have been a flag for running into the kicker, but nevertheless it was a miss, and the Atlanta Falcons win in overtime. You know, he's never looked at the kick. He's never sat down and looked at it. He said, I'm an instinctive kicker. There's nothing I can learn from that. I'm not interested in what it looked like. And the Minnesota Vikings,
Encroachment.
they didn't even bring in another
Defense.
kicker, not for a serious challenge. He is their
5
kicker,
yards.
40 in a row.
Still second down.
164 points. Tony Williams jumped offside, so encroachment at 5 yards stepped off, and it'll be second down and 5. Quick count. Peterson right over the middle, has it complete again. He'll have the first down to the 45 as Bieniemy. Up very quickly as they try to get it set with 110 and now 109, and a timeout called by Peterson to stop the clock with 69 ticks left until intermission.
And of course,
This
every
is a 30-second
snap,
timeout.
Andy Reid can have his team out there offensively or defensively. One, he gets a chance to examine who can do what. Two, it's just another day in class for Philadelphia's offense.
Timeouts left, none. So they got to work the sideline or get it down the middle of the field, one or the two. Tied at 3. That's our situation.
Let me make this comment about Doug Peterson. I think Doug Peterson understands completely his role here. He is here to babysit until Donovan McNabb is ready, and we'll see him in the second half. And Andy Reid said the thing I like most about Doug Peterson, he was waived by the Miami Dolphins 6 times, and every time came back. He backed up Dan Marino and Brett Favre in the last 7 years. He said he's learned a bunch, and I'm going to use what he's learned to teach our kid, Donovan McNabb.
It's Weaver in motion. Pressure from the outside, gets it to Weaver, and he loses the ball, and it's picked up out in the corner. That's Robert Griffin. 15, 10, 5, touchdown Minnesota.
How about that?
Ramos McDonald stripped Weaver of the football. I beg your pardon, it is McDonald who scores 34 rather than 24.
Now the tight end makes the catch, but he gets hit hard out there, and the ball bounces Minnesota's way. Just right straight on the ground, right back up into McDonald's hand, and he runs it in.
Anderson with the extra point, knocks it home, and like lightning with 57 seconds left until halftime, Ramos McDonald, the second-year man out of New Mexico, the third-round draft choice in 1998. Here's the play. Watch Weaver get stripped.
There's the tight end. It's Kylie Wong who has the coverage out there, and it's Griffith who hits him and knocks the ball loose. 24, and 34 does pick it up and run it in for the touchdown.
I just had my 4s reversed. So if you were betting on 24, sorry.
Well, actually, it's probably better that Ramos McDonald scores because he's the man on the spot.
Yes.
He's the guy who was everyone is looking at here at Minnesota as the weak link in that defensive backfield. Of course, Corey Fuller goes to Cleveland. He takes his place, and that's a nice one. That's a good job by the defense. A good hit produces points for your team.
So for the Vikings, they're looking at a situation to get to work their 2-minute offense. They're driving the ball down the field and think that they're in decent shape. And lo and behold, the rookie from Oregon, the 7th-round draft choice, Jed Weaver, makes the catch, but he coughs up the football.
And actually for Philadelphia, if there is one major injury they've already suffered, it's to the tight end, Jamie Asher. Broke his ankle, had surgeries out for the year or so.
Rossum you're looking at, along with Bieniemy, as Berger prepares to kick it off with 57 seconds left until the halftime. And this is going to be Rossum from the 7. 20, 25, and out over the 30 to around the 32-yard line. And they still have 52 seconds to work with.
Well, Doug Peterson goes right back out there, act like that fumble didn't happen. Not a bad half.
10 of 17, 74 yards, no touchdowns.
And everything underneath. They really haven't thrown the ball down the field at all. And I think that's Reed's idea, build confidence in his offense by making the completions underneath.
Bieniemy, who is very good at coming out of the backfield and catching the football, is the lone setback, but they throw it right over the middle. And this is Charles Johnson, a teammate of Bieniemy's at Colorado during his college days, and Griffith is there to stop him, but a sizable gain as Philadelphia is over the ball at the Vikings 45.
That stops the clock. Nice completion. Completion down the middle in a 2-minute drill. It's rather unusual. Normally, they don't give you the inside of the defense. They try to get you to the outside.
And as far as threats on the outside for the Philadelphia Eagles, I guess Charles Johnson is as big a threat as they have as far as maybe breaking a tackle, shooting somebody, and taking it the distance.
But you've hit a sore point. They really don't have a breakaway threat
for
Philadelphia yet.
Doug Peterson, 7th-year man out of Northeast Louisiana.
Whoops.
Well, and his big left tackle, Trey Thomas, out of Florida State, the #1 draft choice, not this year, but last year, comes up out of his stance.
False start prior to the snap.
I'm told that one of the real shows, and everything stops because everybody wants to watch it at training camp, is when Hugh Douglas goes one-on-one with Trey Thomas. And they say that one registers on the Richter scale also.
Now here's Trey Thomas. He allowed just 5 sacks last year, none in December. And of course, Hugh Douglas, he had 12.5 sacks for Philadelphia. So I imagine it is entertaining. And another play comes in.
False start. Offense prior to the snap. Number 66. 5-yard penalty.
Well, Crafts this time. Jerry Crafts, the right guard, moved too quickly.
Settle down. Settle down. Take your time.
Just pretend we're still waiting on that airplane. They waited 8 hours at the Philadelphia airport yesterday and never came. They all went home and came back and tried it again today. So it was a rehearsal for the flight as well as the season with this game. Peterson steps up, drills it long, and it is almost intercepted by Griffith. Oh, that's a nice job defensively. Not only dropping back in coverage, but showing his great athleticism. Almost pulled it down.
But I don't know why he's throwing it, because you're going to see him drop back in here. Peterson makes a poor choice. He must not see the corner. I don't imagine Coach Andy Reid is very happy with that. If you got 2 guys on the outside, there's got to be somebody open on the inside to throw it to.
Well, they had 5 picks last year and the fumble return. 27 seconds left.
Whoops.
Peterson runs up into the stack, now comes out of there. And he says, let me get out of bounds and let's rethink this thing. Griffith was over there to usher him out of bounds. And Talance Sawyer with good pressure.
Yeah. And Peterson ran right out of the arms of Talance Sawyer. He kind of does a little spin move. And Sawyer doesn't realize it's the quarterback. Here he is right here. He kind of gets tied up with Trey Thomas. And when Peterson comes out, he can't really get his arms on him. Twists, spins out, get to the sideline. Stop the clock.
Sean Landetta kicks it away to David Palmer. Palmer drops off to the 11. 10-7. The Vikings lead it. 20 seconds remaining in this first half, and this is a rocket. Palmer runs away from it. It'll hit 5 yards deep in the end zone. So the Vikings will take it over as the clock now is stopped with 9 ticks. 80 yards away.
Okay, Coach, you call the play. Dive into the line of scrimmage. Let's get to halftime.
I started to say, and then get to halftime. The second quarter has lasted an eternity.
Cunningham comes out again at quarterback. So Denny Green telling us that he was going to go a quarter and a half tells me that he wasn't particularly pleased with the first unit, so they're going to stay out there. I would be surprised if Jeff George did not start the second half.
Cunningham gives it to Horde. And Leroy is going to take it up to the 28.5-yard line. Hugh Douglas defensively. And we are at halftime. So the Vikings lead it by a count of 10-3. Go to the sideline, and Joe.
Coach Denny Green, how disappointed are you in your #1 offense?
I don't worry about disappointment. We're just not doing a very good job of blocking. That's what it comes down to.
The run blocking is okay. The pass protection is not very good at all.
Are you going with your Denny Green? Obviously very upset with his performance as #1 offense. They've got some adjustments to make in the second half. Ron?
Okay, I think that sums it up extremely well. That's the end of the first half here at the Metrodome with the score: the Vikings 10 and the Eagles 3. Stay tuned for the Denny Hecker Automotive Halftime Report after these brief messages. 10-3, the Vikings on top, and it's because of a defensive touchdown. And before we talk about the plight of the offense in the first half, and you saw how mad Denny was, let's talk about the positives in the first half, and that certainly was the defense.
No question about it. Now, again, this offense from Philadelphia is still being put together by Andy Reid, and it's not the Atlanta Falcons, nor is it the San Francisco 49ers. But in the first half, the defense did do a very, very good job. Deuce Staley is really the only running back that Philadelphia has, and what the defense was able to do is just get in the backfield before Deuce could get on track. That's one good stop with Bursic behind the line of scrimmage, and then again you see Rudd 57 coming around on the stunt. So the defense did their job, and of course here you see the big play in the first half, a completion to the tight end, a big hit by Griffith, and then McDonald picks it up, and that's the only touchdown of the first half for the Minnesota Vikings.
And so the offense with miscues, a couple of holding, penalties, and we'll talk more about it because we're going to go to break. We'll return to the Denny Hecker Automotive Halftime Report after this message from the Denny Hecker family of dealerships.
Possession totally in favor of Minnesota, but to have just 10 points and 7 scored by the defense. Look, the first offensive unit of Minnesota had tremendous difficulty with the Philadelphia Eagles front. As a matter of fact, there were 3 holding penalties. There were 4 sacks in the first half, and there were 3 forced fumbles against the Minnesota offense in the first half. Now, that's why Danny Green was so very, very upset as he left the field. He told Joe Schmidt, you know, I'm not disappointed we're not blocking well. I guarantee you he said things a little stronger to his offense when he went into the locker room. That's not what he expected.
The Denny Hecker family of dealerships has brought you this halftime report. We'll be back for the start of the third quarter after these brief messages. Minnesota leading by a count of 10-3, and the play of the first half brought to you by your local Hyundai dealer.
You're going to see the throw by Peterson out to the tight end Jed Weaver. Weaver is the man that comes through the line of scrimmage. 87 kind of delays for a minute, then he's picked up by the linebacker Guiley Wong. 52, the hit by Griffith jars the ball loose. Ramos McDonald with a 59-yard fumble recovery for the only touchdown in the first half. And very nice. You know, Ron, did you notice how on the Viking sideline all the players are giving Danny Green a very wide berth?
Not many people standing close to the head coach.
Yeah, he's out there in that neutral zone, which means the fire is on. I have a feeling it was a very vocal halftime.
You'd think he had a real big hamburger with onions in
well,
the pregame.
Actually, the onions were the 4 sacks and the 3 forced fumbles by the defense. I'm going to be curious to see if the offensive first unit, the offensive line comes out to protect Jeff George, because they did not have a very good first half.
Well, the interesting thing is, for people sitting at home and wondering, you know, does the head coach go in and scream and shout and throw things? And for the most part, I would think Denny actually doesn't. I mean, they know what they did. But he was very forceful, I'm sure. Just as when he left Joe on the sideline, you could see he was chapped supremely.
Yeah, and you don't have to break a chalkboard. We're not dealing with kids here. We're dealing with adults, but you can get in their face.
Look at the numbers on George in his preseason. Only 1 incompletion, 196 yards. Percentage 93.8. In fact, the first pass he threw as a Viking went for a touchdown.
Yes, his quarterback rating is 157.
Mo Williams and Morgan are the 2 people back deep. As you look at number 2, David Akers, to kick it off. And this one to Mo Williams from the 7. 25 out of the 30. And the Vikings take over with good field position. And Bob, who's coming on the field? I see Burke. He's not going to start the entire #1 offensive line.
But he does have Christie, he does have Stussy, and he does have Stringer along with Jeff George. So the starting center and the starting tackles are in there, and 2 new guards. And see, let me make this comment too, Ron. The thing about the Philadelphia defense is they will not stop blitzing. That's the way they play defense. So they're going to, the Minnesota offensive line is going to be faced with this approach to defense for the rest of this game.
George with his first snap of the night. Vikings on top 10-3 as we open this third quarter. Mo Williams. And Mo up close to the 40-yard line. David Moore defensively puts the stopper on him, and you can hear the crowd with the Mo. Another effort guy that they greatly appreciate here in these confines.
Yeah, he's a good special teams player too, but let me make this comment. One of the things that slows a blitz down is the run, is a good power run. And so again, this is where Ray Sherman, the offensive coordinator, has emphasized this summer, we got to run the ball.
George with the 2nd and short, and Mo Williams again, this time on the left side. And he is close. In fact, he does have the first down as they spot him down just across the 43-yard line. So they come out with a couple of runs to open the second half and try to get that rhythm established. When they started this ball game tonight, it was just silky smooth. We talked about the protection of the offensive line. Didn't that change?
Yep. Here's Ray Sherman. He's upstairs, and matter of fact, that's a big deal here in Minnesota because Brian Billick, his predecessor, was always on the sideline, and Ray Sherman had always been upstairs. So Danny Green made the decision, if you're comfortable upstairs, that's where you'll be.
Moss in motion at the top of the screen. They try to get him over the middle, and they do. Flashes there, breaks one tackle, almost lost the football as Gardner makes the tackle on him. So Moss with his first catch of the night.
And that's unusual to see Randy Moss over the middle. You know, at 6'5" and 211, 12 pounds, with his kind of speed, he is the best home run hitter in the NFL. But you see him coming across. This is normally Chris Carter's job. And you don't want to have your home run hitter in there a lot because you can get broken. It gets a little busy in there. You get a little angry in the middle of the field.
Particularly, that was the middle linebacker. We told you the battle of Gardner's in with Trotter. Quick release, got it. Moss again inside the 45 to the 43. And there's nobody in football who has a quicker release than this man. And that one right there, another quarterback, the pass would have been too slow and would have been knocked down.
He is the only quarterback I've ever come across who does not have to set his feet to throw. And he doesn't. Now this slant, again, the size of Randy Moss helps here. He just swims past the cornerback, and there's such a very short time for Jeff George to get this ball loose. Watch, his feet are not set. Wham! He's backing up. You're not supposed to be able to throw the ball like that. He's done it his entire career.
So he moves the sticks. Another completion for him. Zings it and almost intercepted. Looking for Walsh that time, and Alan Rossum, who we've seen on the special teams in the first half. In the communication, that's only his second incompletion of the preseason.
But sometimes, Ron, when you have a release and an arm like Jeff George, you do try to force the ball in there. And Walsh was very well covered by Rossum, and he was taking a chance.
Kleinsasser in the ballgame. Let's see if they use the big fellow from North Dakota. Up they go with the running play. Mo Williams behind, good blocking, still on his feet and fights his way close to the 36-yard line. Barry Gardner's down at the bottom of the stack. Gardner, to me, one of the really interesting stories in college football. He went to Northwestern, but before he got a scholarship, Bob, he worked as an all-night security guard. That's the only way he could afford to go to school. And when his head coach, Gary Barnett, told him that he put him on full scholarship, he hugged him and cried because he said, I couldn't last much longer. I was only getting 3 hours of sleep a day.
Sure.
And he said, but Daddy couldn't afford to send me.
Yeah, well, let's hope this kid makes $100 million playing in the NFL with a story like that.
Third down, needs to take it to the 32-yard line of the Eagles to get the first down. And George again with the quick release, and it's there. And he goes right back to Walsh. And you have to think that maybe a conversation in the huddle from Walsh as Rossa makes the tackle. He said, come back to me because I could work him and get myself open.
Yeah, well, again, you're going to see the receiver come right out here, and it's Allen Rossum, the man in coverage. Jeff George has good protection, so he waits. And again, that's a covered receiver that Jeff George makes the completion to.
Did you see the adjustment that Walsh made to catch the ball?
Well done. And again, Walsh makes plays. He just continually makes plays. Good concentration on the ball for that reception.
First down, little counter trey. Mo Williams off the left side, and he'll take it down to the 10, maybe just inside. Clarence Love defensively is there for the Eagles.
Well, Ron, we've seen Minnesota now for 2 weeks in a row. Now, I'll tell you one thing. They got a backup quarterback. You're going to see the guard pulling, which is something that Minnesota really doesn't feature. And if the starter were in there, that's David Dixon at 360 pounds. So Lewinsky is the man that pulls around there. Chris Lewinsky with a nice block.
Second-year man from Indiana. Second down. The ball is on the 10. Vikes lead it by a touchdown and trying to extend that to a 14-point margin. George right over the middle. Got it for the touchdown. Crumpler.
Now, Ron, he made 3 completions in that drive. All 3 very similar. Throwing it over the defensive back into the receiver's hand. That's his 4th touchdown throw in 3 games in this preseason.
He only had 1 incompletion on the drive.
There's the tight end, just right over the outstretched hands of the linebacker again. Indefensible.
So Gary Anderson to attempt the extra point. Kick is up, and he's got it. So our new score, the Vikings on top, 17-3. We'll return to Minnesota Vikings football after this message from Toyota. Carl Lester Crumpler on the sideline. East Carolina is where he played college, and of course unrestricted free agent out of Seattle this year. As you look at the drive, 68 yards, 9 plays, 521. And on that drive, Mo Williams 4 carries for 19. Bob made a good point that they kept the defense off balance with the running on that drive.
And Jeff George was 4 for 5.
5 for 6.
5 for 6. Thank you.
Berger with the kick. Rossum from the 2. Rossum just across the 20-yard line, and then that is very good coverage. As we take a timeout, we'll return to Minnesota Vikings football after these brief messages.
Mentioned something about Carter.
Well, we're back. It's a 14-point lead, and 2 gentlemen who have lots of stripes on their shoulders.
Yes.
Conferring on the sideline.
Yeah, you know, the one thing that you've got to like about Minnesota is that Danny Green does have a lot of platoon leaders. Chris Carter certainly being one of them. And Danny Green listens to Chris Carter, and Chris Carter will go up and talk to Danny Green and speak his mind. Peterson
got hit just as he delivered the ball, complete to Small, and he will take it out close to the 40-yard line. Yeah, in fact, it took, after the lecture I'm sure they received, 5 minutes and 31 seconds for them to respond and go on the scoreboard.
This is Jimmy Hitchcock on the coverage. Apparently his shoulder is okay. He missed last week's game, kind of tweaked it in the pregame, but he looked a little iffy there. Didn't stick his left arm out for the tackle. Nice completion to Torrance Small and a first down.
Out to the 40, Corey Walker. We're seeing a lot of him. Staley, I'm sure, done for the night, as is Kevin Turner. K. Mays in that middle linebacking spot. Second-year man out of North Carolina making the tackle. .8:30 left in this third quarter. Peterson gets it complete, and I mean, the minute he caught the football, Small just got wrecked by McDonald. Ramos feeling it a little bit now after getting that touchdown and able to show his wares again. Last week did an outstanding job of having to move from corner over to safety because of the injury to Hitchcock.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, he said in the offseason he got in better shape because when Corey Fuller left, he knew he was going to be playing a lot more plays. Says he lifts weights with Randy Moss and likes to cover him because if he can cover Moss, he can cover anybody in the league.
That's a good example. Blitz up the middle. Peterson will get his screen complete. And breaking off a tackle. That's a nice job by Walker close to the first down. Talent Sawyer is going to be credited with the tackle. But I'll tell you, because of that dive, that second effort, this third down may turn into a first down.
Now, Corey Walker kind of lost his footing a little bit. If he had stayed on his feet, I have a feeling he might still be running. Nice screen, slows down, sold well by the offensive line. Blitz, Kylie Wong along with Bursage 56. Peterson keeps it alive just by rolling slightly.
They brought the chains out, and it is indeed a first down. Few groans from the crowd, but Peterson, you got to give him a lot of credit. And also Walker, who kind of put a hand down and struggled for the extra half yard to move the chains. Eagles down by 14. If you look at the numbers on Peterson, 14 of 23, 120 yards. Blitz off the corner. Peterson runs into that hole. 5, 10, counted off at about 11 yards. He will have the first down, and then K. Mays put the wood on him.
Peterson's getting ready for that opener. You know, I think that's why Andy Reid still has him in the lineup. McNabb still on the sideline. It's important that the team around Doug Peterson have confidence in his ability. And I think in this game, he's going to give him the most snaps he can. Next week, I have a feeling that he'll put Peterson down quickly so he's fresh and ready for the regular season opener.
Peterson under pressure and is going to be sacked, and it's Talent Sawyer. And the young man continues to impress. Martin Harrison also was applying pressure. But Sawyer's going to get credit for the sack.
Here he is up here. Now, the other thing about Talent Sawyer is they play him everywhere. Both defensive ends. But I asked him yesterday before practice, I said, have you learned that second move? He said, no, I still got just that one college move. But so far, it's working okay.
Well, as we mentioned last week, in case you missed it, he was a tight end at Iowa State, and then when he went to UNLV, they put him on defense. Big opening. Corey Walker blasts through close to the 34-yard line. Orlando Thomas has to come up from that free safety position to put a stop on him and possibly stop a touchdown run.
There was a huge gap in that defensive front. No one even close at the line of scrimmage to slowing him down. Nice on the thigh.
John Henry. Third down. They need to take it to the 31-yard line. Peterson has his pass well behind the intended receiver, Small.
The Vikings have kept their starting defensive backfield on the field. They've changed the up front players. Actually, they got just about their starting defense out there. They're not taking any chances whatsoever.
Norm Johnson, the 18-year veteran from UCLA, is going to attempt a field goal of 52 yards from the right hash mark.
Well, with these new balls, there's no way he can make it, right?
Well, he got a lot of leg into this one. And he is good.
No. They said it wouldn't go that far.
Norm Johnson from 52 yards. So let's take a timeout. 17-6 our new score. We'll return to Minnesota Vikings football after these brief messages. Did you hear what Bob said about he didn't think kickers should have a special ball that had a Circle K on there?
Well, hey, we got to put up with trouble.
It doesn't, it doesn't mean we have to pay kickers anymore, does it?
Hey, Trumpy works cheap. We got to keep it.
He does.
And I'd be here every week, too.
High kick, and this is going to come down to the 6-yard line. And that's Williams. Crosses the 25 out to the 26, and now we're going to take a break. 5:20 left in the third quarter. We'll return to Minnesota Vikings football after this message from your local Chrysler Plymouth dealer. (17-6) our score. We've been joined by Red McCombs, the gentleman from Spur, Texas. Red, I've lived there for 30-something years. I don't even know where Spur is.
Well, Charlene, we'd been married 10 or 15 years, and she swore that there was no such place. And whenever we were flying to West Coast, we'd be flying over there. Pilots would call on intercom and say, Charlene, that is a Spur down there somewhere. But there really is.
As we watch this first down play for the 27-yard line, I want to ask you about your involvement in sports, which is something, this is not a first-time venture for you. Gets this one up the sideline. Got him open.
Got him.
Inside the 4. Robert Tate had everybody beaten on that one. And out of bounds at the 36-yard line.
And Ron, again, that is a beautiful throw by Jeff George. Just a straight drop back. He looks left, comes back right. And Tate gets by the cornerback. Of course, Tate's been on the shelf here for a little bit. Had an ouchy shoulder. Probably the second fastest guy on the football team, and Jeff George, he looks spectacular.
You said at the beginning of this year that you were going to back off a little bit as far as your physical presence around the team.
No, not really. I'm just not doing handsprings.
Fumble.
Ball is on the ground, and it has been recovered by the Eagles.
Oh.
Al Wallace is the man who comes up with the football. So a turnover to stop this one on the drive that looked as though it was going to go big. So there's a timeout on the field. 17-6 our score. We'll return to the Minnesota Vikings football after these brief messages. And we're back visiting with owner Red McCombs. Red, we were talking during the timeout. This really has been fun for you, hasn't it?
Yes, because I'm a fan first, and I feel like I'm living the dream that all fans would like to be owners, and I just got blessed and got to be one.
I want to ask you a question as far as your involvement in sports that I mentioned a moment ago. Is there are flags all over the field? I know you spent over $250 million for this football team. Economically, to Red McCombs, was that a bigger risk taker or the $10,000 you spent to buy the Corpus Christi Clippers back in the 50s?
Well, the $10,000 was a lot bigger risk. I don't want to sound big, but we've been fortunate and done well in business. But when I did the $10,000, it was all I could beg, borrow, and steal. So that was it. I did have a buck or two left over after doing the Vikings.
Where did this ambition, though, come that you wanted to deal in sports and you wanted to be involved in sports?
Well, to me, sports is just a defining moment. It's where you put it all out on the line and you win or you lose, and it's all obvious and everybody gets to watch it. So to me, it's just I can see why sports is so big in America. There's every reason for it.
Obviously, you wanted to win that one more game last year and get an opportunity at the big ring the first year. But beyond that, what has been the most fun and the most thrilling thing for you?
Most thrilling thing to me is see the reaction of the fans. Because the fans, we asked them to give the Vikings a home field advantage, come early, stay late, be purple, be loud. The fans responded. To me, the biggest story of last year really was the fan story.
You have led a charmed life, sir, as an owner for 1 year. To be one play away from the Super Bowl, Red, it's not going to be like that every year. It may be like that very often, but not every year.
Oh, come on, Bob. Why not?
Well, you're the boss. It may be.
Red, how much do you get involved? I mean, like with the draft this year, did you sit in with
I sat in.
people?
I sat in every minute, loved every minute of it. I don't think they would have listened to me if I'd have wanted to do anything. You know, I have opinions on everything, and I don't think I had any influence. I think Charlene had a little influence on us getting Jimmy Kleinsasser. So, you know, she got more influence than I do. But Dennis and Frank Gilliam, the guys, put up with me. But we have fun. That's what this is all about.
Okay. Red, thanks for coming by and spending time with us. We greatly appreciate it. It is good to see you and continued success.
Thank you.
And I'll tell you what, like Bob said, if you improve on last year, you're going to be a really happy guy come January.
Thanks. Thanks, Bob.
Okay, Rick.
McNabb, who's in the ball game, completes his second pass in a row. Donovan, of course, by way of Syracuse, the #1 draft choice of the Philadelphia Eagles this year. And the feeling by their coaching staff and their scouts much akin to the feeling of this coaching staff about their quarterback as a first-round draft choice.
Yes, but the advantage that Donovan McNabb has is that they're building an offense for everybody here, Ron. And in the case of Daunte Culpepper, he's got to fit into this offense that Minnesota's already firmly established. So it's not quite the same set of circumstances. Big hit there on the running back. I know these young kids are going to be compared. Tim Couch, McNown, Keely Smith, McNabb, and Daunte Culpepper. But McNabb and Couch are in the two best spots because it's a new coaching staff for each one of those teams, and they'll build the offense around these kids. And in Daunte Culpepper's case, he's got to be Randall Cunningham or Jeff George. And that's a huge difference.
Second down, he needs to take it to the 38-yard line of the Vikings to pick up the first down. Here comes the blitz off the corner, and the hot receiver gets it at the 41. It's Finneran. Finneran, a first-year guy out of Villanova who played in Europe with the World League, trying to gain a spot on this Eagles team.
So he's had a busy year. He played last spring in Europe. And this is a good read by McNabb. You see the blitz coming here. He recognizes it. And just a short set by the quarterback gets it out to Finneran. Tall kid. Looks like Ed McCaffrey, although not quite as well muscled.
9 new people on offense this year when you consider the quarterback. Well, of course, he also is new, whether it's him or Peterson. So a lot of new players to get together. Got it in the flat. First down at the 35, and now the 30 is Dietrich Gels, the fourth-year man out of Pitt. Came in a trade from New England last year. And Kenny Wright, who has been outstanding in the preseason for the Vikings, makes the tackle.
I talked to Andy Reid about Donovan McNabb, and he said when they were about to choose him, he looked at Syracuse offense, and he said, look, McNabb's an option quarterback. But what he did was, Andy Reid took snaps of some of the option plays, passes that McNabb ran at Syracuse, and then put the similar play in the pro style with Brett Favre throwing the ball, sent him to McNabb and said, look, you're not that far away. And he has a beautiful arm and a great throwing motion, and is a very smart kid.
Gonna run it. 25, 20, points out a blocker, and actually there was nobody. He just wanted Wright to come off of him, and he'll have the first down. I'll tell you what Jim Boeheim said about the youngster. He played basketball for the first 2 years at Syracuse and then just stuck solely with football. And Boeheim said had he just been basketball alone, Bob, he would have been a lottery pick. He was that good an athlete.
As a point guard?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll be darned. Well, this is one of the things that he did so very, very well at Syracuse. Paul Pasqualoni called his offense the freeze option, whatever that is. But he does run the ball very, very well, as did Culpepper. But again, McNabb is learning this offense. He's taking a timeout because maybe he didn't hear the play right. And see, that's all part of.
And that's twice.
That's twice he's done it.
2 timeouts that he's had to burn here.
He's
and will stay with 43 seconds left.
Excuse me, Ron. These rookie quarterbacks have to learn a new language. I mean, it's a totally new language. So he's struggling just getting the play from Andy Reid in his head to the offense, the snap count, and to the line of scrimmage.
And make no mistake about this, although it was not the West Coast offense, Paul Pasqualoni, the head coach at Syracuse, had a very complex offense. Besides the option, they ran the 2-man passing game, a little bit of everything. And so the youngster, it's not as though he, is coming in with not having had a playbook, as we stated about Couch last week.
Sure. There's no question. Syracuse's idea on offense was, you don't know what we're going to do. We don't know what we're going to do. You got to defense every inch of this field.
On first down, gets him set. They try to go with the running play, jammed up, and now to the outside, trying to bounce it. Nothing there for James Boston. And let's go down to the sideline and check with Joe. Joe, what do you got for us?
We're down the sideline. Dwayne Rudd has been out of the game the entire second half. His shoulder has been on ice. He cannot get it up over his shoulder. And I think the Vikings are very concerned about it. Nobody will tell us exactly what it is. That tells us it could be a serious injury. Let's hope not.
Okay, Joe, boy, that's for sure. We saw the big tackle. We talked about him coiling and exploding on that hit. Don't know if that was it or not, because he never got up and showed favoritism. McNabb throws it low. It'll go incomplete. There are flags down, particularly here on the backside of the play. 2 seconds left in the quarter. Holding Eagles.
Now we got a minute here. Andy Reid told me an interesting story. By the way, I talked to him. He was on the airplane flying in this morning on a cell phone. That's the first time I ever talked to an NFL head coach. But I asked him things like this, do they bother you? And he said, you know, when I went with Mike Holmgren at the Green Bay, I took notes on every lecture. I kept there you see the holding by 67. That's pretty obvious. He said, I made a copy of every schedule, every practice, every travel day, every home day, everything that Mike Holmgren did. I've got in this big book. And he said, this doesn't bother me at all. We'll be fine. So he was ready to become a head coach.
Second down, they need to take it to the 2.5-yard line. And boy, that end zone crowd is really making some noise. Throws it back over the middle and throws it too high. And boy, I'll tell you, Jordan really had to suffer the consequences because it was too high. That's the end of the third quarter here with the Metrodome with the score. The Vikings 17 and the Eagles 6. Will return to Minnesota Vikings football after these brief messages. Now the fourth and final period, and the Vikings lead it. What really has been a strange football game as far as stop and start and stop and start. It's been kind of that sort of evening.
Well, the Philadelphia defense is going to do that to a lot of offenses, and they're going to struggle offensively. I didn't expect the Minnesota offense to have the kind of trouble they had in the first half.
Bubba Miller, fourth-year man out of Tennessee, comes out over the football. He is the center, replacing Steve Everett. Deep in the pocket, pass is caught for the touchdown. Dietrich Gels, the fourth-year man from Pitt.
For some reason, number 32, Anthony Bass, the safety, he just stops coverage. He's coming right here. Now watch 32. See, he just drops him. He must be expecting someone from the inside. Bursic tries to get a hand on it, but he just runs right up the seam, and it's an excellent throw by McNabb and a very easy score.
Good pass. The kick is perfect. And the #1 draft choice for the Eagles comes in and marches them right down the field. 17-13 our score. We'll return with more Minnesota Vikings football after this. Well, we are back 17-13 in a new ball game. And how about these numbers on McNabb? 5 of 6, 54 yards and a touchdown. And compare those to George, who was 5 of 6, 86 yards and a touchdown. So the rookie comes in and impresses. Mo Williams with this kick return from the 2. Hemmed in at the 20 and will be stopped at the 21. Well, tonight's third quarter stats are brought to you by Sprint PCS.
Well, again, this seems to be a recurring problem here. The points off turnovers, the time of possession is evening out. The rushing yards for the Vikings, 110 total. 2 turnovers each. can't overcome turnovers in this game. You know that? In the professional level, you just can't overcome them.
Last week, 17 points off turnovers.
17 points by Cleveland. Yep.
So tonight, 7. And again, that's one of those things that Denny will make a very close point on with his football team. Mo Williams tries to bounce it outside. He got hit hard from behind. Ike Reese, second-year man out of Michigan State, 5th-round draft choice 2 years ago.
Flag down, holding against Minnesota. That's the 4th holding call against Minnesota. Now again, you saw the points off turnovers. That's points scored for the Minnesota Vikings with that fumble recovery. And then they just gave up 7 to
offense, number 85,
Philadelphia.
10-yard penalty. Repeat the down. First down.
That's on Klein Saucer. He couldn't play last week because he fell down in the shower, had stitches in his head.
Bumped his head, yeah.
He was more embarrassed than hurt.
I want to see him throw to it. I know we're looking at him as a blocker, but I don't want to see what he can do over the middle. I know he's a load. I've seen a lot of video of him. When he gets it, look out. Short drop, and over the middle. Got it complete to Walls.
Man, did you see that? Threw it right behind Ike Reese's arm. I mean, the linebacker drops out there, and Jeff George hesitates for just a split second. And I think you're going to see Ike Reese come out from the middle. Watch the linebacker drop right there. And George throws it just behind him where he can't. Look at that. What is going on here? This guy's radar. How does he do that?
Bemi checks into the backfield, number 49, the second-year guy out of San Diego State. Swings it out to Mo Williams, though. And that is a good open field tackle. Sean Woodson, second-year man out of Jackson State, getting an opportunity to play.
And Ron, we've talked about Jeff George as a backup here. And a backup for Minnesota has been important. Each time a backup has come in, it's been because of injury to the previous guy. So far, Randall Cunningham has stayed healthy, but Jeff George is certainly, to my way of thinking, with a shortage of quality quarterbacks in the league, an unbelievable acquisition by the Minnesota Vikings. And he told me the other day, he said, look, I could have gone other places and started, but I came here with the opportunity to win. I don't like sitting on the bench, but I want to win.
He's going to call a timeout because there was some confusion.
Timeout.
And it was interesting. We mentioned it last week, the fact that he and Randall get along wonderfully. We'll return to Minnesota Vikings football after this message from your friendly Lexus dealer. (17-13). You see David Dixon to the right, the big guard out of Arizona.
John Randall here talking to Eddie McDaniel, the middle linebacker. Blew out his knee in the conference championship game. Oh, I take that back. That's not Eddie McDaniel. That's the guy that Joe Schmidt talked to earlier. That's the defensive end. That's Dwayne Clemens. I apologize. Eddie McDaniel was just standing there. But Clemens has got a nice seat there on the bench. And Randall's entertaining him. He'll entertain anyone that he can get close enough to talk to.
George, quick release, and got the pass complete. This time, Tony Bland. Second-year man out of Florida A&M.
This is scary. The way Jeff George is throwing the ball, I'm telling you, this is scary. This looks just so natural, and I mean, it's a good move by Bland, but again, there's very little room. He gets it there before Bland even turns around. Right on the money, laces up, right foot between the 1 and the 8. 1, 2, 3. Doesn't set, and it's there. That's a gift.
Mo Williams, the setback. They give it to him right into the middle of the line as a headgear comes flying out of the fray. Gardner. I'm laughing with him, but that's the reason he is blinking his eyes.
Yeah.
I think he went ahead and made the hit without the headgear.
With the double chin strap, it's hard to see if we can figure out. It's Withrow with a hand to the face right up here. Knocks the helmet off, and he does. He still sticks his head right down in there.
Right in there. I told you. I mean, he's from Northwestern, but he doesn't mean he's that kind of smart. George Got it. Daunte lost the football, and it will stay with the Vikings at the 20-yard line. Now we got a flag down, and this is across the field at the 35. And you could only surmise that defensive holding would be the call.
Yeah. I would hate to see anything ruin another great throw by Jeff George. This is no play action fake here. He just goes back, sets up, and the receiver is covered, and he throws it at the right spot. Tate does a good job of fighting off the defensive back. And the contact there, and the ball just goes out of bounds. Nice move. When he starts looking back, Jeff George has thrown it about now. The defensive back, Clarence Love, has no chance. You know, that's about 10 or 12 completions we've now seen Jeff George make that I wouldn't believe any quarterback could get him in there.
From the 20, first down. That was Palmer who's in motion and dancing around, and that ball incomplete. Only his second incomplete pass of the night as he was looking for Chris Walsh. It was Rossum on the coverage.
He's now 9 of 11 for the night, and that was the easiest throw he's had. I mean, that receiver was open. If he gets it to his belt, look at that, 152 and a touchdown. Danny Green has got to be, he's got to be saying, we can't be this lucky. And I'll tell you what, as long as Jeff George plays like this, it's going to be a while before Daunte Culpepper takes the field for the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, this is
point well taken.
This is too much.
See the blitz in the middle. George quickly gets it away, and was it complete? Nope, incomplete. Tate, the intended receiver.
Let's blame the receiver. George has been so brilliant.
Ball hit the ground.
He's just going to run a little square in route, and the ball is thrown low. Walsh drags his guy out, and Tate does drift a little bit up the field. And so it may be on the receiver. You'd like to have him cut a little sharper.
Not quite as clean a pattern as maybe it should have been. 10:57 left in our ball game. 17-13, Vikings on top. Third down, they need to take it to the 10 to move the sticks. Pressured, and he just throws this one away. That's going to be grounding. And Hantak throws the flag. Al Wallace was the guy all over him.
He could not get outside the tackle. He had a gimpy knee in training camp, and I noticed Jeff George gets up and he's walking gingerly on that knee. He missed a day of practice.
Well, he's mad about that, and also what he did, because he probably just took him out of field goal range with what just happened, didn't he?
Offense number 3.
I agree with you. You can see the sleeve on his left knee.
Loss of down.
It is a loss of down.
So it's fourth down, and if they go for it, it's going to be a 52-yard attempt. And it would appear Berger's, well, of course, Berger's the holder as well.
Plenty of pressure, but when he tries to get out of the pocket, well, he does kind of bend that left leg a little bit to the outside. Trainers go to him immediately. He kind of tweaked it a little bit in practice one day. Didn't say much to many people, but then the next day he took the day off and had it well iced and wrapped.
Berger's kick very high. Rossum runs away from it, and did they touch it? No, first man did not, and they will touch it down at the 4-yard line. Walsh is there. So let's take a break in the action. 10:41 left in our game. 4-point Viking lead. We'll return to Minnesota Viking football after these brief messages.
Eyewitness Weather. Total coverage.
We treat weather just like a breaking news story.
When severe weather threatens your family's safety, accuracy counts.
When severe weather moves in fast, so do we.
The best equipped, the best prepared, the most complete and accurate. Not just coverage, total coverage. Eyewitness Weather with Cullen Ventrella. Weeknights on Eyewitness News at 5, 6, and 10. You're not just watching his weather, he's watching yours.
Two of the biggest Minnesota Viking fans could not make it to the Dome tonight. Jimmy Kleinsaucer's parents, Carter and Kathy, have something else they want to do today. It's time to cut wheat in North Dakota, so they're out cutting wheat. So while they're out in the field, Jimmy's on the football field trying to catch a bushel full of football.
Very good, Joe. Oh, man, look at that rig. That's one of those tractors that's got high-definition television. That's his dad. Tending the garden. Said they've got 2,000 acres. They raise a lot of sunflowers for sunflower seeds. Got about 40 beef cattle. He is truly a farm kid.
Quick look in pass, and here comes a flag down deep after the play. Finneran on the receiving end, and he was tackled by Chris Rogers, the rookie out of Howard. And you can see the Vikings pointing, let's take it back. It is offensive holding against the Eagles.
There he is, Mr. Kleinsasser. Yeah, I asked him yesterday before practice. I said, how much lead blocking have you done? He said, oh, a little bit.
Holding.
I said, well, what did you do most at North Dakota? He said, well, I split out. You know, he's a 270-pound wideout, and he was their offense. They tried to get him the ball 25 times a game, but he's willing to be a lead blocker. He'll do anything that the Minnesota Vikings want him to do. He grew up a Redskins fan, and last year attended the Redskins-Vikings game here in the Metrodome.
Well, we had offsides on that play, although it has continued to run, and now here come the flags down. The holding call was on Andrew Jordan.
Prior to the snap, false start offense, number 88.
They can't go back much farther.
Still first down.
Well, they can, but Coach Andy would not be real happy with the results.
I think we've got the tight end kind of coming out of a stance.
He's the one that held a moment ago.
That's right.
He'll have his own little session with the coach.
Yeah, Andrew Jordan will be in the back of that plane flying back to Philadelphia.
Keep it on the ground again. Kay Mays hits Bostic and pushes him back. By the way, owner Red McCombs, Coach Dennis Green, and the entire Minnesota Vikings organization wants to thank all of the Vikings fans watching tonight on KXLT TV Rochester and our flagship station KSTP TV Channel 5 in the Twin Cities.
By the way, you know, today Minnesota State Fair opened. I'm from Illinois. State fairs are big. Hey, I'm from Springfield, Illinois. I'll go to a state fair anytime you invite me.
There's one in Dallas that's decent also.
I like state fairs.
Second down. Sets in the end zone. Gets the pass away, and did he get it complete? Incomplete. Nay Brown, the intended receiver. Given name is Nathan, but always went by Nay. And of course, the chance that you take right here with this line of scrimmage, that holding winds up in the end zone, my friend. You got a safety, and then you give the ball back as well. Yeah. So,
but I'll tell you what, McNabb has looked. This is under pressure. I mean, you've got the second third teamers in there for Minnesota, but this is under pressure. Your own end zone right on your heels. He's looked very solid back there.
Third down. Here comes the blitz. They're going to go with the run, and Bostic will take it out to just across the 10-yard line before Talance Sawyer will make the tackle. So at least they got some breathing room and an opportunity for Landeta to put another missile up there. Martino is going to punt. Tony Martino, number 11. And it's off the side of his foot. Vikings had the return on, and coming up quickly is Palmer. That is a smart move, and he got tackled. Was that the face mask or the equipment?
Flag comes in.
Yeah. Now a smart move by Palmer, because you let it hit on this artificial turf. Heck, it could go another 20 yards. Now add the penalty, and let's see the extent. Vikings going to have great field position.
Personal foul. Defense. Face mask.
Wow.
15 yards.
Down to the 26-yard line. And they punted from the 11, so it's a net of 15.
Palmer, you're right. He's very smart in picking that up. Oh, he doesn't grab the face mask. He grabs the shoulder pad.
Well,
this is another.
I ask you.
This is another reviewable play. If Andy Reid has a coaching, they have a TV up in the coaching box. They can review this. They'll nullify the penalty. Again, he grabs the shoulder pad, not the face mask. Watch that left hand. That's legit. I see no review yet.
Not going to do it, so it's official. Culpepper comes into the ball game. And Daunte, you could not have a better situation for the ¡1 draft choice to come into the ball game. Mo Williams with a handoff. You'll get one.
Jeff George is on the sideline with ice on his left knee. And in a mop-up roll with no pressure on Daunte Culpepper. The numbers so far this preseason.
You know, you would almost hope that offensively, doesn't matter what, about 4 comfortable passes, doesn't matter where they are, just to get him into the flow.
I think that's well put. I think you're absolutely right. Last week he was pressing. He was trying to be.
He tried the long pass to back against the green.
Right. And he tried to be Daunte Culpepper of Central Florida last week.
Yeah.
Now, from here on, he's got to be Daunte Culpepper of the Minnesota Vikings. The problem he has is beginning next week, they stop really looking at Daunte Culpepper as a quarterback. They prepare for the regular season. So his education slows down dramatically next week.
Yeah.
And just for his own psyche, I agree with you. A couple of sharp passes boost his confidence.
Just got a report. George did twist the knee just slightly. He will not return. Here comes the blitz. Short drop. He's going to be sacked. Back at the 33-yard line, 96 Al Wallace, second-year man out of Maryland.
And that's Wallace's second sack in this second half. They were trying to run a little slant pattern to Walsh. Culpepper looked over there, probably made the right choice. He was not open, so he didn't throw it. Here's the pass rush right here. You see Carlester Crumpler and Mo Williams, they both blocked the same guy, and Wallace is free on Culpepper, so his teammates are not helping him.
Philadelphia now with 5 sacks on the ball game, 2 by the Vikings. Third down, line to make is the 16. Quick out pass, got it complete. Kleinsasser, and Kleinsasser shoved out of bounds at the 26-yard line. Mike Caldwell jumped on his back. And Mike has to be thinking, good heavens, this can't be a tight end. He outweighs me by 50.
275 is what he weighs. There's the iced knee of Jeff George.
I would really hope, first for the Vikings, but also for him just as well, that is not something that is going to really slow him down and bother him, because he is off to such a wonderful start. Field goal attempt by Anderson of 44 yards for the near hash mark. Berger, the holder, and this kick, he got under it. That is going to be well short.
Geez, on the day he gets the Golden Toe Award for his performance last year.
17-14, timeout on the field. We'll return to Minnesota Vikings football after these brief messages.
At Eyewitness News, being the news leader means more local news.
Governor Ventura made an announcement in Duluth today that will mean major tourism dollars for far northern Minnesota.
The 25th anniversary of Voyage National Park in Crane Lake played a big role.
More live coverage.
The festival of the summer got started this morning. The Blues Fest is rockin' Bayfront Park.
The changes are only well received by those who are here and managed to get tickets.
See for yourself why Eyewitness News is the news leader of the North.
I'd like to remind you that coming up next Friday, September the 3rd, the Minnesota Vikings wrap up the preseason as they travel to New York to take on Bill Parcells' New York Jets. All of the action starts 6:30 p.m. right here on this station.
By the way, do you know that game against the Jets will be played on grass in Giant Stadium? They still have it in there from soccer.
From the soccer, yeah. Forgot about that. Donovan, McNabb, short drop, pump. Now over the middle, ball is tipped and it could have been intercepted. He was trying to go to Finnerman again, and he threw it with some hot pepper on that one. Noel Scarlett applying pressure on McNabb and bumped him just as he got the pass away.
You know, that was an odd one because he's looking way downfield, and then that really is too much steam. Finneran, big tall guy, that one just zipped right through his hands. You got to learn to take a little off when you got that short completion to make.
Keep it on the ground. 5 yards, maybe 6 on the play.
Ron, when I was at training camp, I sat down with Denny Green and talked to him about what kind of roster it's going to look like. So it looks like he's settled for quarterbacks, running backs, offensive lineman 9. That's pretty typical. 8 defensive linemen. The only real spots are wide receivers and tight ends. Now, if Kleinsaucer can be counted as both a fullback and a tight end, you keep 3 tight ends, and you'll have an extra wide receiver. So there aren't many spots for young men to make on this football team, and special teams in these late moments in these preseason football games give you the opportunity. But I think Kleinsaucer has got this team made. They just see too much potential in him.
Oh, I don't think there's any question about that. Jordan made that reception, and that will move the sticks. Clock is running with 5:39 and now 5:38.
And of course, for the Vikings, 6 of their first 9 draft choices in 1999 were defensive players. You remove Demetrius Underwood from the mix. But, you can see where they're certainly putting their attention on the defense.
McNabb swings it out in the flat. And it's good for a couple of yards. And again, it's Aaron Hayden who's getting a look late in this ball game as we go under 5 minutes to play.
This 99 draft, you can see the first 2, Kleinsaucer, Kenny Wright. I like him. Humphrey, I'm not sure. Chris Jones, I'm not sure. This guy's a lock. Dalton, they're pretty deep at linebacker. And Noel Scarlett, I think Poge would like to keep a couple of extra defensive linemen. So they're going to have a pretty good draft, even without Demetrius Underwood showing up.
McNabb swings it out. That's Hayden again. Not enough for the first down, just outside of the 45-yard line.
And again, the difference between these 2 football teams, I feel bad for Andy Reid. He's trying to raise the level of talent on this Philadelphia Eagles football team. But because this is a year of an expansion team, Cleveland's got the first choice for anybody cut. So he's got to wait his turn. He needs to upgrade a lot of spots. And can't really do that. Minnesota, they're looking for a guy here and a guy there.
3rd down. Needs to take it just inside the 44, and they jumped offside. Boy, I'll tell you, Jordan has had his problems tonight. He may be in the last seat of that 747 heading back.
Well, my feeling is it's probably the last flight he'll take with the Philadelphia Eagles.
So probably should take one of his choice.
Sure. Sit up front with the big guys. I don't think he's going to make another trip. And that's the way it happens. It is pretty cut and dry in the NFL. It's an X. It's a plus or a minus.
And then when the Turk comes and says, take your playbook and see the head coach.
The line is, Coach Reid wants to see you bring your playbook. And you go back home and say, it was politics. I had the team made, but it was politics.
On 3rd down, blitz up the middle. McNabb gets away, now delivers the pass, and it's incomplete. Well, he showed his athleticism and his ability to get away as Morgan was there defending.
Against the tight end Jordan once again. He's flush from the pocket, and he senses that Parker's in his face and K. Mays is in his face, stays on his feet, and then tries to make the completion. That's a tough kid, you know.
And he's got the opportunity to watch him in college many times at Syracuse. As Martino sets to punt again. Fair catch called for and made at the 16 by David Palmer.
Well, it looks like Daunte Culpepper's evening is done. I think Bauman is coming in at quarterback. Yep, there's so my concerns right now are the physical well-being of Jeff George and Dwayne Rudd. Those are my only questions for this night. I did not like the pass protection. The offense struggled. 7 points from the defense certainly makes the difference. 17-13. Turnovers again. 5 sacks allowed by the Minnesota offensive line. No, 5 sacks.
Hit right at the line of scrimmage and shoved back as Wallace is there.
And you know, with Philadelphia in town, everyone knows the great year that Randall Cunningham had last year for Minnesota. But do you remember the year he had for Philadelphia in 1990? I mean, he was the entire football team. And you can see he was an MVP here, an MVP here, 30 and 34. But here's the stat: 942 rushing yards for Philadelphia in 1990. And now with Minnesota, he doesn't have to play that role. Just be a quarterback.
He doesn't have to be everybody. That's right. Breaking it big is Mo Williams. And Mo is going to take it out almost to the 45-yard line. Rossum saved a touchdown.
Mo has played a lot tonight. You know that? He's on special teams right up through here. Let's see if we got a lead block by Kleinsaucer. Not a bad block by Kleinsaucer, keeping the defensive end out, and then good acceleration by Mo Williams.
Messina with a good block on the play as well. 2 minutes and 20 now, 2:19 and counting. The man they call Femi goes off the left side, loses his footing. He is down, and with that, we have reached the 2-minute warning, with the Vikings leading by a score of 17-13. We'll return to the Minnesota Viking football after these local messages. Well, you can see the conversations beginning on the sideline as Moss and Cunningham are talking it over. Of course, they're not going to play anymore tonight. Bauman is going to close this one out with 2 minutes left. And Mo Williams, not much running room. It's going to be a 3rd down. Mo now 10 carries, and that'll give him about 51 or 52 yards.
Timeout.
Well, tonight's play of the game is brought to you by your local Northland Ford store.
This was a thing of beauty. Jeff George throws this ball perfectly to the tight end down the middle. There's excellent linebacker coverage. You see George look outside and then comes right back to the tight end. The only guy that could catch it was Crumpler. And time after time after time now we've seen Jeff George do that in the last 2 weeks. And Crumpler gets the touchdown, but Jeff George has thrown the ball beautifully.
I mean, you put a clock on that, it's just bam, bam, and it's done. It's there.
It's hard to imagine that this kid is not a starting quarterback somewhere in the NFL. And for this being his 4th team in 9 years, well, they can't all be wrong, but the way the kid's thrown it, it's unbelievable.
He's going to start a controversy, you know.
Oh, yeah, sure. But, I mean,
I don't mean in anything but in the battle for the quarterback.
Oh, sure.
That's what I'm talking about. Certainly don't mean to allude something else that Jeffrey would be looking to start a problem with this team, because that's not his aim. Bauman lobs it over the middle. Oh, he had him open, and the defensive player had fallen down.
Eric Moss.
Yeah.
He's a converted offensive lineman. Excuse me, defensive lineman. Here he is right here. And he's wide open, but just slightly overthrown.
Randy Moss's brother getting an opportunity. May be converted, but with that body, he looks like a defensive lineman.
Yeah, he doesn't look good at 43.
By the way, the numbers officially on Mo Williams: 10 carries, 52 yards, so an average of 5.2. Certainly an outstanding evening for him. Oh, he's going to catch this punt at the 5-yard line. Nay Brown. And Nay will bring it out to the 23. There's a flag down here at the line of scrimmage. And I would only assume, because we're inside of 2 minutes, that they waved off the inside the 10 rule, because that ball for sure is going to go into the end zone.
Yeah.
You don't waste the time on the clock, and you got it at the 20.
Yeah, give it a shot.
Yeah.
Try to return it.
Well, it's all for naught anyway, because we're going to bring it back, it would appear.
It is against Philadelphia.
Holding during the kick, number 55. We will penalize from the spot where possession was gained. We will go half the distance to the goal line. First down, Philadelphia.
To explain it, goes half the distance from where possession was gained because it happened during the play. And you see it on the 2-yard line. By the way, the executive producer of this Minnesota Vikings telecast is Ed Piet. The coordinating producer is Andy J. Kendall. Tonight's game is produced by Tom Yohe. The broadcast associate is Wayne Fiddleman. And our spotter here in the booth is Bill Werndell. McNabb. And Donovan will get down on the turf just across the 20. K. Mays was in hot pursuit.
But he's going head first. No protection when you go head first.
Downs it, stops the clock at 1:18. A reminder, next week's game on Friday evening in Gotham.
Or the edge of Gotham.
Yeah, the edge of Gotham. The New York Jets and the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah.
And then the following week, folks, it goes for real.
To Atlanta. But you know, this entire preseason, I've heard the assistant coaches and Danny Green constantly refer to Tampa does this. Tampa does this against us. They believe that their stiffest rival will be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the NFC Central Division.
Pressure on McNabb, and he is sacked by Harrison.
Well, he just reached around the offensive tackle and grabbed the quarterback. Boja is still coaching.
Right over the middle, it's Fontenot, and he will be stopped at the 25. Anthony Bass making the tackle. Under a minute to play.
This is a good part of the education for McNabb. You know that Andy Reid, I don't care what happens here. He's gotten a lot of quality snaps in the second half of this game.
On fourth down, going to be sacked at the 22-yard line, and guess who? Harrison again. We're going to give it Williams. Okay. You see Harrison in the vicinity as well.
Change of possession, Minnesota.
37 seconds left on this one.
With just a 4-man rush, McNabb is flushed early. Can't really set up. An excellent job there by Ben Williams getting by the offensive lineman.
Ben Williams will get credit for the sack all by himself. Harrison was falling into the picture and had nothing to do with it, with the exception of applying pressure from that outside. Bauman goes down to a knee, and the classy thing to do.
Yep. This has been a long day for the Philadelphia Eagles. It started yesterday. They couldn't get in till 10 o'clock this morning. Tough to come in here and play the Minnesota Vikings.
So for the Vikings, they prepare for that final preseason game against the Jets. And they are now 2-1 in preseason.
Not a particularly good performance tonight. They win 17-13, but that's 2 weeks in a row where everything didn't work properly. Denny's still building this team to that point.
So for Bob Trumpy and Joe Schmidt, this is Ron Franklin saying so long from the Metrodome in Minneapolis, where the final score is 17-13 Minnesota. Tune into the same station next Friday when the Minnesota Vikings travel to New York to take on the Jets. All the action starts at 6:30 p.m. So long, everybody.
Are we done? Is that it?